today to talk about the brown flax seeds. Can you tell us where are these flax seeds grown?
Well, I happen to have flax seeds in my own kitchen, and they are grown in Canada. So even though flax seeds come from all over the world, like 30,000 years ago, they certainly didn't come from Canada. They were from Egypt and Syria, but these days you can get them from Canada.
Nice.
Yeah,
Homegrown.
homegrown,
Fantastic.
exactly.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between, because I've seen golden flax and I've seen brown flax seeds. Can you tell us the difference between those two?
I think the main thing, as far as most people are concerned, is that they're not all that different. There may be a little bit of marketing going into saying, one is better than the other, but it's sort of like asking what's the difference between green apples and red apples or different varieties of red apples. There probably are some subtle differences, but on the whole, in terms of the key reasons that we use them and the main nutrients, they're pretty much the same. So you can have either of them for the
Okay,
benefits.
sounds good. And actually, could you tell us more about the flax seeds? So why would people use them? What are they known for?
Sure. So they're known for mainly three things. Probably the most well known is as a very good source of omega-3 fatty acids. So I'll start with that.
Hmm.
Omega-3, that's something most people have heard of, but if you haven't, of course, it's a very important essential oil we have to get from our diet. And especially if you're a vegan or vegetarian, you don't get it from fish or other sources, then it can be difficult. And flax seeds is really the highest source. And it offers a lot of great health benefits, but most well known omega-3s for being anti-inflammatory, but also, they reduce the kind of viscosity of the blood, so less chance of clotting. And there's many important reasons why we need omega-3s in our diet. So that's the one. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Can I ask you though, I have heard before that you should grind your flax, or is there a difference between those whole and ground flax?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, nature designed, in some ways, seeds are designed to not be digested so that when animals eat seeds from a plant and then they sort of run off with it and they poop somewhere, then it plants that seed and it helps it propagate and grow because they can't digest it, so it goes straight through them. And the same happens for us. So you always want to grind them, but it's nice to grind them just before you use them, or let's say, not months and months before, because they will be fresher.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we would
yeah,
keep
very
those in the
fresh.
fridge, would we? Would we keep those in the
Oh,
fridge?
in the fridge?
Yeah.
Um, if you grind them and you're not using them for a while, then in a sealed container in the fridge is probably a good idea. I grind mine and I use them within a week or two, so I don't worry. It just depends how long it takes. You can usually smell when
Mm,
seeds kind of start to go funky or off.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Funky is a good word. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask you what's really unique to them, aside from the omega-3 that you
Automatically.
spoke about?
Well, one of the other unique, it's not entirely unique to flax, but they're very high in something called lignans.
Hmm.
Not the only seed, so sesame seeds are high as well, but they have about 500 times more lignan content than most vegetarian foods. And lignans are, there's kind of emerging evidence that they may be protective against various types of cancer.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, there's actually a Canadian study, so lots of stuff on Canada today. A Canadian
Mhm.
study, 6,000 women who ate flax seeds versus those who didn't were 18% less likely to develop breast cancer.
Wow, that's
As
pretty.
one example. Yeah, so lignans are thought to maybe protect against breast cancer, possibly prostate cancer, and possibly others as well. So
Mhm.
that's one of the other desirable reasons to have flax on a regular basis. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, how would you actually use them? Like, what would you put them in? How would you use those?
So I, use them for many things. So one of the, assuming now you've ground them, of course, we've gone over
Mhm.
that. They have a little bit of a nutty flavor. One of the reasons people use flax seeds, other than like in their food, other than for those health components, is, and I've mentioned, as a good source of fiber. Right. So if you want to add fiber to your batter, say for cookies or muffins, you can just add some ground flaxseed. Or say you're making meat patties, you can add some ground flax into there. So you're just adding some nutrients and fiber into your existing recipe. That's also used as a thickener because ground flax is quite, and this doesn't maybe sound great, but it's mucilaginous. And it because it's got a lot of fiber, it draws a lot of water, and so it will help bulk up your, say, smoothies, which would be a good example. You don't want a runny smoothie, you want to stay full longer. So adding it into smoothies is popular. And one of the really great uses for flax seeds, it's fairly unique to just flax seeds, although you can do it with chia as well, is for those who don't eat eggs because they have allergies or they're vegan. You can use ground flax for an egg substitute.
Oh, that's fantastic. So you just use ground flax and that's it?
Yeah, you mix the ground flax with a little bit of hot water and let it sit for a while, and you'll notice it gets gooey, kind of like an egg. When it's raw, it has that kind of stringiness to it, so it will give the nice consistency like an egg, and it works very well. I make a banana bread and I use that instead of the eggs, and it works great. So
that sounds great. Now you're making me hungry for banana bread. What else can I ask you? Is there anything else that you said you use them? Any testimonials you have? Anything that's improved, do you think?
Well, I will say that they do work really well for egg substitutes, and that's great. So, even if you are okay with eggs, but you're having guests come over who are vegan, it's easy to just turn any recipe. So that's one of my favorite uses. I also will just, if I'm making oatmeal or some kind of hot or cold porridge, just sprinkle it in. And it has a slightly nutty taste, but not strong enough to kind of overpower anything. It blends well. And I didn't mention, I mentioned it's a good source of fiber, but there actually are studies on flax seeds as well for some of their potential ability to, first, it's got a mixture of soluble and insoluble fiber, which the two types of fiber that you need in your diet. And it's a nice mix of the two, but there's some studies showing that it may lower blood sugar up to 20% taken regularly every day, a few tablespoons, may even affect blood pressure and lower the risk of heart disease, as we sort of know about fiber in the first place. But, given the other advantages of flax seeds, that's just an additional one. If someone's getting the omega-3s and they're getting the lignans, but they also will get the benefits of those fibers. I will give you one funny story where I don't recommend using flax seeds.
Okay.
I saw a recipe online once to make hair gel, natural hair gel with flax seeds, and that did not work. It was gooey, but it was like putting chunks of flax seeds in the hair. It didn't work. So don't try that.
You are brave to try that. Can I ask you, in terms of, you mentioned, in terms of blood sugar, you mentioned the omega-3s, that good source of fatty acid, omega-3. And can I ask you, how much would you kind of recommend people take per day just to make sure that they're, getting enough of that fiber and omega? And
that's a good question. The usual serving size is 1 to 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
So for someone who doesn't eat a great diet and doesn't get a lot of fiber, they could even up it to 3 tablespoons a day, maybe not all at once. For some of those studies where you're lowering blood sugar and such, they do tend to use kind of on the higher 3 tablespoons a day. But, if you're just generally healthy like I am and you want to get the benefits of a little more omega-3, then I'll put 1 tablespoon a day in something.
Sounds fantastic. Any final words?
No, just enjoy flax in your life if it's not in your life already.
Sounds good. I'm gonna try some in my oatmeal, that's for sure. Where can we find these flax seeds? Where can we find those products?
Luckily, they're very popular these days. So any health food store definitely will have flaxseed, and probably most grocery chains as well. It's not hard to find. So you might find it pre-ground. Sometimes then it may be in a refrigerator or in a vacuum pack. So it should be still fresh, even though it's pre-ground. But once you open it, you want to use it fairly quickly. Or I like to buy it in the whole seeds and then just grind it as I need it. But you can find it pretty easily anywhere.
Excellent. And do you grind that with a coffee grinder, can I ask? Or
I do, yeah. Yeah, I use my coffee grinder to grind coffee beans, seeds, and anything. It seems pretty versatile. Yeah.
sounds good. Excellent.
If you want to go the old school way, you can
Yeah.
try doing it by hand, but
It sounds amazing, actually. So I'll try that out definitely. You can always use omega-3 for sure for anti-inflammatory properties. And thank you so much for all your knowledge and your help today
you're
discussing.
welcome. Thanks, Stephanie. Nice as always to chat.
And with you.